So I'm bringing out the fire, bring on all the lightning, 'cause I'm looking for a hero, look inside the mirror, I found one, oh, carry the hurt when it gets...
Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If it is your first time here, my name is Wadzanai Mercy and this YouTube channel is called Inside Out. I was filming a video on my best financial principles that I've learned over 2021, and the number one principle that I was talking about was tithing. So I've always been scared to talk about this topic just like by itself, because I kind of felt like it's a deep religious topic that, you know, is a topic of conflict, and you know, so I just kind of felt like I'm not a spiritual leader and I'm not equipped to talk about it. But I realized that as I was filming that video, I kept going on and on and on, and I had so much to say, and like the majority of the video just ended up being about tithing. So I was like, okay, let me make a separate video about it, just a quick short video just to talk to you guys about what tithing is about and my personal convictions when it comes to tithing. If I make a mistake or I say the wrong thing, I don't know, but yeah, this is my personal conviction and why I personally tithe. So to those who don't know what tithing is essentially, not essentially, it is the principle of giving 10% of everything that you earn to God. So whether it comes through salary, allowance, or a gift or whatever, 10% has to go to God. I'm just going to be talking to you guys about some common misconceptions that people have about tithing, and questions that people normally have about tithing, and just generally principles about tithing. People often say, I will start tithing when, or I'm not going to tithe until. People say I'll start tithing when I'm older. I'll start tithing when I'm receiving a salary, because right now I'm only receiving an allowance from my parents, you know, and it's barely enough. People always have something to say. Start now, start where you are. It doesn't matter if it's a gift, if it's a salary, or it's an allowance, or anything, whatever it may be. Start tithing now. For me, I think I started tithing at a very young age. Like my mom would give us like $10 allowance every 2 weeks or once a month or something like that, just so that we could always have money, or like if we could have offering or whatever we wanted to do with it, or save it, or anything like that. So for me, I started tithing at a very early age, like pre-teen years. And the worst year that I've had when it comes to tithing was actually the year when I started working. When I got my first job in 2019, I was working for a school, and over the months I got a raise, like my salary kept going up and up. And then there was a point in time when I actually had $1,000 in my account. That was my worst year when it comes to tithing. I think I paid tithe about 2 or 3 times that entire year, because for me it was like, okay, I'm used to paying my little dollar for $10, you know, my little $5 for $50. I'm supposed to pay $30. Now I'm supposed to pay a whole $100 for $1,000. What I'm trying to say is, don't be that person who says I'll start tithing when I start receiving a salary. It doesn't happen that way. Start tithing now, where you are. With that $10, pay your dollar. With that $100, pay your $10. The second principle is no amount is too much and no amount is too little. So with the example that I gave you, that I started paying tithe in my preteen years, I remember there was a time I went to pay tithe with my sister, and I paid $1 tithe. And I remember my sister laughing at me and saying, seriously, you're paying $1 tithe? It was kind of like insinuating that, seriously, that's all you're gonna give, that's all you're earning, that's all your income. Okay, bear in mind I was a preteen girl. She was like, the paper and the ink they've used to receipt your tithe is actually more than the tithe that you pay. I'm really happy that I didn't let that get to me, and I'm really happy that didn't stop me from paying my tithe. Over the years I've come to realize that no amount is too much and no amount is too little. If you can't be faithful with $1 from your $10 tithe, don't ever think you're going to be faithful with $100 from your $1,000 tithe. Don't ever think you're going to be faithful with your $100,000 tithe when you make $1 million. You get what I mean? So what I'm trying to say is, just be faithful where you are and be faithful with what you have. I was watching a video by Bishop T.D. Jakes, and he was talking about the people with the talents. One was given 1 talent, one was given 2 talents, one was given 5 talents. The one who was given 5 talents came back with 10. The one who was given 2 talents came back with 4. And he said the one that came back with 4 talents and the one that came back with 10 talents, they're all the same, because they had a 100-fold increase. So in God's eyes, they both did the same amount of work with the capacity that they were given. They've both come back with a 100-fold increase. So it's not about the amount. God doesn't care about the amount. God isn't gonna not take your tithe seriously when you pay $1. It's not like God only takes the people who pay $100 and above tithe seriously. God takes everyone seriously, because it's about the heart. It's about the principle of saying, you actually had $10, and from your $10 you gave me 1. I love you for that. The other experience that I had with tithe was, there was a time when, especially when I left high school and I started to actually like pay more and more tithe, and more tithe was expected of me. There was a time when I had to pay quite a lot of amounts. Okay, let's say for example $50, okay? And I remember in my head for some time thinking to myself, this is a lot of money, surely God can't expect me to pay this much to the church. And this was actually when I was in the UK and I was on a student budget, and you know guys, student budget is and I'd be thinking to myself, hey God, this is a lot of money, there's a lot that I could do with this. I can buy my grocery, I can do this, I can go out, I can blah blah blah. And then one day I went out and I wanted to pay for something and I wanted to buy something, and the amount that I was paying for that thing was the exact same as the amount that I was supposed to pay tithe. And then the minute I made the purchase, God was like, so it's so easy for you to splurge that money somewhere else, but you can't give me that money. So what, are you putting that thing above me? And that's when I was like, oh snap, that's right. You can easily pay 25 pounds to buy something at Zara, but you can't pay 25 pounds to God for tithe. What does that mean? From then onwards, I just told myself, every time money comes in, I just calculate what imari, and then I pay my tithe immediately. I set it aside immediately. I don't even think about how much it is or what I can do with it or whatever. I just calculate, I pay, and then when I then have the receipt, that's when I start to pray over it. I just do what I gotta do and I move on. So obviously with tithing, this is one of the parts that I was hesitant to talk about when it comes to tithing. So it's kind of like when you pay tithe, you're supposed to pay to a Bible believing church. You can't just say like you pay tithe at this church one week and then the next week you pay tithe at another church. Where you pay tithe is kind of like where you acknowledge that this is my spiritual home. You don't just pay tithe anywhere and everywhere. You get what I mean? So for me, I'm lucky and I'm blessed that I have a church that I can say I pay tithe to. But a lot of people don't have said churches. So in those situations, it's hard. So I don't think I'm in a position to tell you where you can pay your tithe. But I think, you know, pray about it and then find some way to pay tithe. I've heard people say I give the money to charity. I don't know how faithful you are with that, and I don't know if that's the right way that God wants us to pay tithe. I don't know much about that, but all I know is I can give my example that I give my money to church. Another controversial thing about tithing is people say churches are misusing funds. I think that's been a huge issue with a lot of people when it comes to tithing. I always thought to myself, okay, so those people who say churches are robbing God, so I'm not going to pay my tithe to the church. So you're stopping the church from robbing God by robbing God. Because you always go tithe. And that's when I then realized that sometimes it's not even about the church. Sometimes it's about you being faithful. I can't police every cent that the church uses and say, okay, I need to see your audits before I can give you my money. I can't do that. But I know for sure that I've done my part. Okay, if you know that you don't want to pay tithe to that specific church, don't then make the solution not paying tithe at all. Find another solution of paying tithe. That's all I'm trying to say. Like, don't then also rob God. That's the moral of the story of what I was talking about. So don't say like, hey, what he says it's okay to pay tithe to churches that steal from God. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. Don't get me twisted. You know what I mean? You do your part and you be faithful and you honor God. It's kind of like when Joyce Meyer talks about how at some point when her parents were still alive, obviously you guys already know her story that her dad was very abusive, and she talks about how when the dad was still alive, God told her to take care of her dad and to take care of his health, pay his bills, buy them a house and everything. God told him to do that, and he was like, until the day they die, take care of everything that they need. And for her, she was like, it was so hard for me because this man had been my abuser and I had experienced so much trauma in the hands of my father. And he was like, yeah, that's on him and I'm gonna judge him, but don't make his sins your sins. I've given you the responsibility to honor your father and your mother. I didn't say honor your father and mother when they are nice to you or when they are good parents. Honor them, period. So that's the same thing with God and your tithe. He's like, honor me and honor your tithe. Whether or not they are being responsible with the money is not your responsibility. I think one of the reasons why I really wanted to talk about tithing is because I put a poll on my Instagram once. If you don't follow my Instagram, the handle is gonna be somewhere over here. I don't know, over here. Go follow my Instagram page and see what I get up to on a day-to-day basis. Put a poll on my Instagram and I was talking about deal breakers, and I said, would it be a deal breaker if your partner doesn't pay tithe? And the majority of the people who responded to that poll said no, it's not a deal breaker. For me, that was like, what? So that's why I kind of felt like, okay, let me make this video, because I don't think a lot of people know what tithing is, or a lot of people probably don't understand what tithing is about or how it works. Whatever the reason is that you don't pay tithe, there's a lot of sermons on YouTube about paying tithe. Dr. Miles Monroe has an amazing sermon. Pastor Michael Todd did a really good whole series on paying tithe. But I think it's a very important principle. I know it's a very important principle, and it's a very beneficial principle. So guys, you made it to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you did, I love this gang. The end of the video gang. I need to find a name for you guys. End of EOTV. I don't know, man. Next time you come back, I'll have something for you. But thank you so much for watching until the end of the video, and I will see you in the next one. Mwah! Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Okay, share with a friend and help them understand more about tithing. You know, got you.